Let's start with what Holly said to me in line for coffee, which is your goal today is to get caffeine-induced psychosis. Is that right?
Caffeine-induced psychosis.
That's one plan for the day, not the only.
And to which I said, that's my plan every day.
That's the way I live. I was on a call the other day and somebody asked me if I was frustrated with them. And I was like, frustrated? I'm excited about what we're talking about.
Uh-huh.
And they said, oh, there might be a little aggression in what I'm hearing. And I'm like, oh, no, you're hearing my over-caffeination. I purposely drank another coffee right before this call just to...
And they're like, that's why you're so sweaty.
Yeah, I've been in meetings with people who drink no caffeine.
Yes.
You hear myself becoming more and more almost like a crazy drug. Oh, I'm never gonna do that. And like just the speed of the speech, you're like, this is the furry stuff. Really.
See,
Like we don't give caffeine enough credit for the amount of damage it's actually doing.
Yeah.
you
for
think?
brains.
Oh, you think so? See,
I'm not
I'm a proponent. I'm like
no,
all
I-
the
oh,
studies that come
100%.
out that are like
Yeah.
it helps with offset like dementia, and there's
I'm
all
sure
these
the
like
coffee
positive.
industry has nothing to do with
Yeah, that's right. As your heart explodes before you ever hit dementia age. It's trade-off.
No, I like the short term. Like it's basically
Yes. You hear that, kids? So drink your coffee.
Welcome to this week's episode of Doc Walks, which is titled Basically Cocaine with Holly Herrick.
Oh, actually, that is a strong contender already, right out of the gate.
Holly runs a nonprofit. She's got to put up a reasonably public-facing.
That's right. That's right. We're not talking about hard drugs on this podcast.
That's right. Just the legal ones. Yeah.
It's a little
So
early.
Cheers.
It's a little early for cocaine. So normally we do an intro. It feels like that was an intro. Was that an intro, Ben?
I feel like that was good banter. Yeah.
Ben likes to banter. All right,
Ooh.
these guys are working hard. We appreciate what y'all are doing. And right off these pile of leaves, let's go to the intro music.
And beautiful Mueller.
Ding, 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 ding.
On your left.
You're listening to Doc Walks with Ben and Keith. We are in Mueller Lake. I would almost call it Mueller Lake State Park.
No, it's not that big, although it is.
It's not quite the state of Texas hasn't sought sponsorships and partnerships for all of its state parks yet.
Not yet, no. But I do think that it is important that we point out when we are walking, which is the second day of March.
Okay.
And that is important because Holly, this is probably about your busiest time of the entire year, I would guess, right?
This year in particular, because for some reason in our world, everything's happening in March.
Yep.
Just everything's happening this month.
That's how it is with our line of work. It's
Yep.
like nothing happens for a long time and then everything happens all at once.
This is the month where the filmmakers of the world want to come to Austin, and we're all about that.
Yep.
So we're a lot of special events, a lot of guests, a lot of big stuff happening at AFS. But our film awards are on Thursday, and that's the gala where the Texas Film Awards, where we raise a lot of the money for the grants that we give away at
Oh,
AFS.
and also you have a little thing like a feature documentary premiering at South by Southwest
Yes, that's
in a few
unusual
weeks.
For me. That's I produced a doc this year, or over the past 3 years. It was actually 3 years ago that this started. Actually, right this time of year, 3 years ago. It was during South by that this project officially started.
How did it start? And tell us the name of it.
Before we get into how it started, let's introduce our people out there to who Holly is. 'Cause I think we've hinted around with some
That's a good idea.
drops
Yes.
on like what's going on this month. I'm just gonna take a step back. When you said we had to point out today is March 2nd. March 2nd is Texas
Guys,
Cinema.
are those blue bonnets
Ooh.
started?
I don't think those are blue bonnets.
are
I
begonias.
need, I can't.
Although we do have
single blue bonnet.
we have blue bonnets all over our yard, and we got the first little tiniest little hint of purple that popped
Oh
up
boy, it's happening.
yesterday. So it's
Spring in
close.
Texas, I highly recommend it
Springs,
for
yeah.
those who have not experienced.
That's what happens every year is people come for South by from New York where they've just been freezing for months, or from LA where they all want to get out of there, and they come here and they drink margaritas all week in the sunshine, and they go, we need to move to Austin. And then in August they're back to being unhappy again.
So Holly Herrick to my right, to Ben's left, right here, down the middle. is Holly. Holly moved to Austin in 2012 from New York to become one of the artistic directors of Austin Film Society, associate artistic director.
This is some good intel.
We got a little deep dive on that.
I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna ask you how he did. Afterwards, so you can grade his work. So let him keep going.
And before Holly was with the Austin Film Society, who you guys have heard us talking about to and fro on many episodes, including all 4 of the Sundance sponsored episodes. Holly was a programmer and a film writer. I knew you mostly from your work at Hamptons, but I know you were down in Florida at Sarasota for many years.
That's when we first met.
The
I
big
think.
years.
Yeah, with Tom Hall.
Yep, good years.
And but really since 2012 now, which is not recent. You've been here quite a while. You've got a generation of experience right here, moving up the ranks of Austin Film Society to the point where you are the head of all television and film for Austin Film Society. Head of film?
Yes, we don't do a lot of TV, but we do have a lot of different types of creatives making different types of things in our programs. So I oversee all of the programs that we run.
And we talk about Austin Film Society a lot, but I know that there's a lot of people who live in places that don't have any kind of film society, and they certainly don't have what AFS offers to the world, because AFS is more than just a society of people get together and watch movies. Can you give us just like a brief rundown of what AFS is for people who just don't have that knowledge?
So thanks for that intro. Feel really lucky to be there because it was a very special place, and a special place that I just had the good fortune of being able to accept a job there a while ago, and I always had such a rewarding experience there that it's just been such a hugely fulfilling part of my life. But AFS started by Richard Linklater in 1985, mainly as a group of young cinephiles who wanted to watch movies. And then it became a way for all these filmmakers in Austin to get together, and they started a grant program out of a membership program where it was like, let's raise money to give grants to filmmakers around the state of Texas. So it went from only watching films to supporting filmmakers. And in the very beginning of the new millennium, this airport over here, we're actually standing where the old airport in Austin was. All that's new development is old airport land. And a bunch of the old airport hangars here in Mueller were being decommissioned because they're moving the airport out to where it is now. And the film community came together to ask the city if they could use these old hangars, film studios, because that was the missing piece. This is all before the incentive wars. The missing piece in Austin was meeting facilities, because otherwise there was crew and there were people who wanted to come here and make movies. And so once those studios were open, it really gave a big boost to the film and TV industries in Austin, helps bring more production to Texas. And from there, we were able to...
Hello. Hi.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
We were able to scale a bunch of programs to meet the growing film community.
I just want to point out, you said the word scale. Just said I read the word scale.
Scales Street. See, who says coffee's bad? Also, can I just point out that we're like speed walking right now? I love it.
This is my
We're
slow walk, guys.
Oh, good.
Oh, really? So you go faster than this
I'm
normally?
a really fast walker. The only person who walks faster than me is David Nugent, who is the artistic director of the Hamptons Film Festival.
Who is lovely fella, that guy. I didn't know he was a fast walker though.
He is an extremely fast walker to the point that I have to run to keep up with him. And I consider myself...
He's a tall guy though, right? So he's got like those long, long strides.
So from there, and this is like where I come in, is 12 years into the studio facility being run, and we're looking at a growing Austin. How can we continue to ensure the future of Austin's film culture and make sure that filmmakers can continue to thrive here? And part of that was needing to have a full-time art house. We didn't really have an art house in Austin. We have some amazing cinemas and a really thriving movie-going scene.
Yes.
But we didn't have a repertory art house and an art house that showed mainly non-mainstream, foreign, independent, and nonfiction.
It's such an incredible benefit to our filmmaking community to have that. The more I travel and go to other cities, like the more I understand how unique it is that we have a full-time 2-screen rep theater playing movies every day of the week. It's incredible. And the way you guys bring filmmakers in and program special events, it's like unlike anything else that I can think of. And I feel so lucky to live here.
We all feel lucky, and it's also a great place for filmmakers to show their work, and also to have access to that kind of facility where it's like you can test your DCP, you can kind of
Right.
capture a work in progress of your film, you can rent it.
Right.
There are just a myriad ways that I think the AFS Cinema serves the film community, but mainly as a place for us to gather and experience the work that's being seen elsewhere, and also contribute to that conversation in international film culture. And so that was a big goal when I came in. We still had our screening series all over town, and we showed a lot of movies, but having a space that was consistently by the creative community for the creative community. And that's, of course, is for everybody, but I think really starting with artists was where we were coming from when we were making it. That like filmmakers in Austin needed a place that was kind of their own. And so much of our programming is generated by the film community coming to us and being like, hey, I saw this at a film festival, are you guys gonna program it? There just seems to be a really great collaboration between the film community and the film society, and not to diminish the work of our amazing programmers who of course are
Yeah, shout
all
out,
the deep
shout out
dives.
to Lars.
Justin and Lars,
Yeah.
who are just some of them, in my opinion, and of course I'm very biased, but some of the very best programmers in the country.
Absolutely. And that brings up an interesting transition to what you and Keith have created
Yes.
together and with a team, which is called Doc Days. So will you tell our listeners about Doc Days?
If I can back up a little
Yeah,
bit,
of
then
course.
another big area of growth for us was how can we provide some deeper experiences for local filmmakers that create some really good relationships and synergy within the community, in addition to our granting program, because our granting program is incredibly expensive because it's a lot of cash that's going out the door, of course, and we want it to always be more and more and more, but it's also a big labor to run the program and to intake up and do a really comprehensive review process. And so we're trying to build a new program that we could run with the same team. And we have these 2 intensives that we do annually. One is the artist intensive, and that's for narrative features and filmmakers with projects in development.
And is that modeled on Sundance's intensive
it
or
is
lab?
The sort of the kernel of the idea, but it's not actually modeled, because when we created it, and it was created with a filmmaker named Brian Poiser who used to run the program.
Sure. Yeah.
He originally wrote a grant to the Academy to start this program, and then I came into the Film Society that year, so I was like, oh, now I gotta make a lab.
Oh, awesome.
And Brian's, it's cool, you got it, Holly. And we sort of came up together with what could be useful for filmmakers at that point.
Okay.
And I don't think either of us really knew very much about the labs, to be honest. And so we've definitely benefited from the Sundance Labs because we've had mentors and filmmakers who've done the labs, who've done ours, and have been like, you should try this, or here's a piece that you can incorporate, but it's definitely its own thing.
Yeah.
It's a bit more of a retreat style experience than we're gonna handle cameras today, or we're gonna do this piece today.
I
we're gonna do
see.
that. It's less curriculum based.
Right.
It's a little more
Like mentor.
dreamy, freewheel. Richard Linklater is a mentor every year, and that's a big part of the program.
And that's
Cool.
typically 3 people with scripts that are either almost ready to go or pretty close to ready to go.
Yes.
And you're bringing in mentors.
Yes.
Richard Linklater's there, but you're bringing in mentors also from New York and LA.
Yes, and trying to create that synergy between the mentors and the filmmakers. And then after we've been running that program for a few years, Keith and Megan came to us and said, we really think there could be something more for doc filmmakers here. And we were like, we totally agree. What do you want to do?
That was one of my
And how
favorite
can you
days.
help us?
Meeting on how much help we are.
A huge amount of help. It wouldn't have happened without you. And so I was working with a colleague, Erica DeBrady-Sugars at the time, and we together with you guys, we developed this concept for a doc lab that would take place at our Austin public space. And we work with different, in the beginning, worked with like many films, and now
Right.
just trimmed it down to 3 or 4 projects. But it has been just an incredibly rewarding way to bring documentary filmmakers in our Texas community together with the rest of the documentary industry. Very similar to what we're doing at the Artist Intensive, creating these moments of intersection
Yeah.
for people. But we do it at the same time as our Doc Days Festival, which is a boutique 8 to 10 film festival of new films that happens at the AFS Cinema, and we overlap them so that the
And I want to clarify, I don't have any specific role in Doc Days and wasn't a part of the birth of it.
you know,
but
you're kind of part of it.
there's an overlap between the Doc Intensive and Doc Days, and they serve each other really beautifully, I think. And certainly
Well,
Doc Days serves the lab.
It's a twofer, right? Because you bring in filmmakers who have new docs to
That's right.
screen, and then sometimes those filmmakers are also mentors.
Often, yeah. And
Yeah.
almost every year we've been fortunate that Holly programs great films that Austin hasn't seen yet. They haven't hit our community at all, and it's often been like really established doc makers who've been out on the world stage in a lot of ways. And so inviting them into the doc lab that Megan and I are running with the AFS staff is like such a huge bonus. But one of the things I love about the Doc Intensive in particular is it's a little different every year, because it's like the amount of projects that are invited, the style and depth of the needs of the projects is different for every year. And the group of mentors that come for Doc Days and other mentors that we tap either locally or we can cajole to come down here is different every time. And so in a way we have to make it up each year, but in a way
It's
like
true.
we learn a lot from doing that.
Yeah, and it is cool how there's a different vibe each year based on what the projects need, and it's very different from the Artist Intensive in that way. The Artist Intensive, of course, the vibe is different every year because people create the vibe, but it's, in terms of what we do, it's pretty much the same. And with Doc Intensive, it's always, oh, what are we gonna do this year?
Right.
What are we gonna get into?
That sounds like making documentaries. Yeah,
Yeah,
you make it up as
exactly.
you go along.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We turned off. I was trying to drive us towards that nature trail, but maybe we can
Oh.
hit it up there, I think. It's
Okay.
like right over there.
Well, let's do it. Look, here's
I
a,
know I know where you're trying to go.
and there's an airplane flying overhead. We had a pretty good shot of the old tower too, going up this way.
There's a lot. Obviously, there's so much that we need to talk about in the cover. You use the word a bunch of times in describing AFS and its relationship to the film community. Community has got to be the most utilized word on Doc Walks in the first almost 50 episodes now. Like,
Yeah.
everybody talks about community.
We do, because we feel like that was a driving force behind starting this. Was
wanting
like,
to this.
Yeah.
But it's because we've been raised, Ben and I, as back when we were young emerging filmmakers, and now that we're grizzled old confused filmmakers, like we've been raised by this community and lifted up at times by the community and compared and contrasted and inspired. And community is such an important word, especially I imagine people listening to this podcast sitting in a place like Ben just did an episode in Kansas City. I don't think there's a Kansas City Film Society that's like fostering what AFS does. I know that there are people who are listening in lots and lots of like 4th and 5th place cities and towns that don't even know 2 or 3 other filmmakers to form a community. And yet when I think of where the center of our film community is, without a doubt, it's Austin Film Society, both the cinema as a physical home, but even beyond that, like the idea of the Film Society, which has its tendrils in kind of like every facet of Austin filmmaking. And it feels, we just talked to several festival programmers when we were at Sundance, and I know that that's a hard position to be in, because you're, as much as the film festival programming is dream making, it's also dream dashing.
Yeah, totally.
And so like when you've got some of that, we're going to get to your role in Doc Days, because there's a little, but Doc Days is different, right? Because it's not an open application process.
No.
And so can you talk a little bit about what it's like to be at the center of an organization which means so much to the community, and what your role is for filmmakers at different levels?
Wow, that's a big question. Yeah, there's so many things about what you just said that I
Yeah, just jump on anything. I just
yeah,
normal.
but somebody once described AFS not as an organization, but as an organism. And Rebecca Campbell, our CEO, and I have really latched onto that, because it is an organism. It's been around for 40 plus years, and I do think we've taken a lot of the philosophy of this is a community organization. Of course, it's an organization that we control and need to support and make it flourish. But there's also so much of it that is like happening outside of us, you know?
Right.
I think that's the thing that we talk about all the time is we're creating this and making this organization function, but it's not about the organization, it's about the entire film community.
Wow.
And that's the thing that we're always focused on, not what do we do to make the organization thrive, but what do we do to make the culture thrive? And that is always how we come about it. And it's pretty organic, to be honest. It's what does this community need? What does Austin need? What do filmmakers need? And that has been the approach. And of course, when you're running a nonprofit, it is irresponsible not to take care of the organization. You have to steward your limited resources. And as a big part of it is that, but we've invested a lot in our operations in order to ensure that we have a functional, healthy organization, and so that we can say, this really is something that the whole community needs to deal with and take care of. And so how can we continue to enroll people and continue to have the community own it?
And one great way that you guys did that, which is in a way maybe like counterintuitive if you were just thinking about the organization, right? Is that you guys took over Austin Public, which was the public access station, and
3 public access channels that are on 24/7.
Amazing. And so correct this story when I get it wrong, please. But from what I understand, you guys learned that the station was either struggling or looking for new ownership, and you offered to take it over and to help basically keep it running so the community could have that as an outlet. And also you guys now offer classes where you can learn how to edit, you can learn how to make a podcast, you can learn
it's
all different areas of filmmaking, which is exactly supports what you just said, which is supporting the community and the growth of creating other filmmakers and not growing the Film Society necessarily as the main goal.
So it is the city's property. And so what we did was we applied for a contract with the city that anybody could apply for, any nonprofit could apply for this contract. And we applied for it because we felt that if we were gonna, it was our strategic plan. We were like, we exist to provide the tools of filmmaking to anybody in the community. How are we going to do that? Is Austin Public was the way to do it, is to partner with the city to ensure that anybody who wanted to get their hands on the tools of filmmaking and distribution in our area could do that. And what was really like the vision for it was that filmmakers and the creative community would figure out a way to use the space and the resource to flourish and to make the creative community grow. And in the beginning, there were some people thought, well, this is public access, it's not the same. Filmmakers aren't gonna go to public access. And it really has, that vision really has happened. Like, you'll go in there and you'll see filmmakers taking gear out to go on a shoot. You'll see like young creatives being like, what is this space? And then seeing that there are these really cool filmmakers who've learned how to use the resources there, and then learning from them. And so that idea of giving something to people so everybody can see what's directly ahead of them and then help the people who are just coming up, it's happening at Austin Public. And we're so proud of what we've been able to do. And that's, of course, you could not do without the city of Austin, who continues to invest in this resource. It is, like you said, it's bigger than us. It's about everybody in the city having that access. And as we know, we're in a really funky time in our economy and our culture. And yet media, as much as it's imploding, like our industry as we know it is not the same, but there is still tons of opportunity in creative media. And it's also dominating how we think about the world.
Absolutely.
So we need to make sure that people in the community can tell their own stories, and it's like, frankly, really important that people can do that. And
100%. Well, the need for story is never going to go away, and that's the constant, right? And so, like, as much as you can empower people to be able to tell their own story, the better. That will always work out.
When offering those services, like, just a quick anecdote on that. About a year and a half ago, my wife Sarah, who is a very experienced storyteller in still photography and is a cinematographer on most of my projects, and on some other people's projects, and is very skilled in the world of Photoshop and color grading and photo editing, but has never really dabbled in video editing. Turned to me one day over dinner and said, "Hey, I just signed up for a class at Austin Public to learn how to edit." And I kind of looked at her and I was like, "We have a production company. Austin Reedy is one of the best editors in Texas, and he's sitting 30 feet away in that office right now. I'm sure he'd be happy to show you." I would be more than happy to show you. And she just kind of looked at me. She's like, "I don't want to learn from you. I want to learn from people whose job it is to teach people." And they've got a great system, and it's really inexpensive, and it fits into my schedule, and it starts on Tuesday. And
Awesome.
she did it, and she loved it. It's one of those things, like, it wouldn't occur to me to utilize that resource at the stage that I'm at and that we're used to talking about. But it's open for everybody. And so Austin Public is a public access TV channel. Let's go on this trail.
We call those classes, by the way, continuing education.
Yeah.
And that happens all the time.
I love that.
It's like people who are like, "Oh, you know what? I want to understand field recording because I want to be able to talk to my sound people on set."
Right.
So I'm going to go and take this class. And that is a classic story, and I love hearing those stories because that's living sport.
Yeah.
And no, you don't have to be professional. You can be starting from anywhere, but there are many professionals there, and then that builds a network. Like now, the people who take that class got to meet Sarah.
A little community
And
building.
that's,
all across
like that's amazing for them to meet somebody at her level. So it's.
Okay, so as the head of film
Hang on just a second. Let's point out where we are here. We're walking up on this park where there's lots of people on yoga mats over here doing crunches.
There's this really nice native plant area.
Ooh, let's do it.
Yeah, if you walk.
We got some cacti.
Yep.
We got a little paddle cactus. We got these little grasses. There's some ladies working on fitness.
And it was pretty fantastic talking about the city of Austin and them being a partner, and then we can't see it from where we are now, but we could see the entire skyline from back there, like looking out over the whole city of Austin as we were talking about them.
These purple flowers.
Yeah, they smell like grape juice.
Are they mountain laurels?
They are mountain laurels.
Yeah. Sarah always calls them the big league chew.
Yeah, they do. And this is where you can get all these native vegetation.
Ooh,
It
cool.
definitely trimmed it down for spring. It looks like with the freeze, they trimmed everything down, so y'all aren't getting events in this area.
But we're getting all these.
So good at doing native plants around here.
Yeah, all this cool sculpture. Look at this. This is
And
beautiful.
Here's some flowers.
Oh, you see some?
Yep, little yellow flowers coming up. Spring will spring again.
Ooh, that's an alternate title right there.
Cocaine or spring, one of the two.
Spring will spring again. We have yet to talk about.
Live on it.
There we go.
Oh, here, I got it. I got it.
Ben's got
Good eye. Look at that.
Before we move on from AFS, Doc Days is coming,
It's coming.
and Holly's primary job, besides running all of AFS Film, is programming Doc Days. And so you are a film nonprofit exec. You are a programmer. We're going to talk about your new role as a doc producer. But before we move on from AFS, Doc Days is the special, unique, privileged kind of mini fest that you plan and host and foist upon us in April.
Oh, God.
Pretty much. You will watch this.
You have to watch. Doc.
I was going to see what foist meant. See, this is what people say. I'm caffeinated and aggressive.
This is what happens.
I mean,
well,
it is kind of
as,
aggressive.
as somebody who is
10 films and they're not overlapping, so you have to watch all that. I mean,
that is a generous
Who's
read
being
of the.
aggressive here?
That's a generous read of the situation. As somebody who has edited almost 50 episodes of this guy talking, and you do the editing too. I'm not taking all the credit. I do know that Keith often starts talking without knowing exactly where he's going, and I think that might be a good indication of that.
isn't that called an external processor?
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
We've named it an
Yeah.
external processor.
I think I'm an external.
Is that okay? I was going to say, is it a sign of low IQ and like
or psychosis? Definitely
But
psychosis.
when you said you're an external press, no, it's a sign of warmth and geniality.
Yeah,
There you
yeah.
go.
Of high achievement for sure.
External Processing with Holly and Keith.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry,
there you
Ben,
go.
that's our new podcast. We're not going to shoot it with video because nobody's going to watch it. We're just going to talk through it. We're both going to do the other bits while we do it. I'll be fucking walking fast. It's
Yeah.
Doc Days. Doc Days, I know it happens April 30th this year, kicks off.
That's right. It's really soon, Keith, and I'm not done yet.
You're not done programming.
No.
Decisions to be made.
No, there's a lot of decisions to be made. I still have more movies to watch.
Let's sidebar
Sorry, I'm
afterwards
really
because
late
we
this year.
we have seen so many great docs this year, and I'm sure you have too. So we have some strong recommendations.
Okay, great.
Yeah, here, let's go in.
Everybody's recommendation.
But you started in the world of programming.
I did.
And-
So I kind of hold on to it fiercely because for a while Lars and I did the programming together, and of course he did more than I did, but I still I contributed a lot more to the AFS Cinema program, and little by little that has gone away, which is totally fine. We have the most amazing programming team, but I still hold on to these little pieces of programming, and Doc Days is gone on to that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What is your philosophy as a programmer? What are you looking to, how are you looking to kind of sequence a festival?
Okay, I definitely think it's an art, not a science. And if you start to get overly scientific, the programming sucks. So it's more like, and especially for something like Doc Days, where you only have 10 slots. It's more, this is like, sounds really lame, but it's like more, you're like mix CD or
Yes.
something like that. Where
Well,
it's
I
like
wonred if
you're-
it was like that. Yeah, like creating a
Yeah.
mixtape, or you're going for a vibe or a mood. Yeah.
and it's definitely not, I wouldn't say a vibe. Like, it is more that you're wanting like different feelings and different genres and different ideas to be represented.
Right.
So it's more like you're looking for extreme diversity in what's out there. You can represent that in the program, but also for movies that you think are so successful at accomplishing what they were going for.
Right.
And so ultimately, it's totally about the films, but then in terms of the program, you are going to make some tough decisions about what fits and what doesn't fit, or what
Right.
could fit differently, and that has to do with the audience. And because we have the benefit of knowing our audience really well, because we are a full-time cinema, we sort of know, okay, we don't need to play this in Doc Days. It will totally have an audience at another time. Or
Oh,
this fits best
interesting.
for Doc Days because we need to tell people how special it is. And Doc Days is a way of highlighting that this is like a really unique special film that you should see.
Right.
That it might have a harder time biting on it. And this isn't every film in Doc Days, but some films are in that category. But you really are trying to pull from the currents of what's going on around you and make something that is legible to an audience from a way to approach the world in this moment. That's when you're programming a festival, that's how some of the things I'm thinking about. Like, we're always trying to make sense of reality.
What's the conversation
Yeah, exactly.
that needs to happen, or how are people contextualizing what
Yeah.
is happening in a way we can form thoughts?
How are we making meaning out of what's happening in the world at this moment?
I'm so glad you bring that up, because I'm curious, knowing that you started as a programmer and now you run a film society, and now you have just produced a feature doc, and in addition to Mike, your husband's couple of his narratives.
Yeah.
What was it about programming that drew you early on? Like, why not be a producer to start?
What drew me in, and then the reality of where I was, and I think it's those things combined, like
Yeah.
circumstantial. But when I went to a college called New College of Florida, where everybody basically, it's a theory of academics that you let the student drive the program. You
So
work
kinda
with
like-
professors.
Kind of like Montessori or something?
Sort of.
Yeah.
But for college students, it's really full of people who didn't take a traditional path.
Okay.
And that's what you see in the alumni as well. But people who didn't, there are no grades. So you make a contract to what
cool.
you're going to do. And then, yeah, so it's real, people who are drawn to it are just like driven by what they're interested in.
Yeah.
And I got into film when I was there.
Oh.
And there wasn't a film program, but it was like, I was a literature student, and then I was like, oh, let me see. Like, I had to watch films for an art history class. And then I was like, oh, I think I'm into films. And that was where it all started for me. And then it was like, nobody gets to see these movies. How do you get to see these movies? And then there was a film festival in the town where I went to Howard in Sarasota, where New College is.
Right.
And I started interning there when I was a student, and then when I graduated, I got a job there. That was like, okay, this is how people get to see movies they wouldn't get to see otherwise.
Right.
And these movies are so special, I want everybody to see them.
Yeah.
And so I really didn't imagine myself being a filmmaker. I didn't know what a programmer was,
Right.
but that's where I came in.
I love that because it's essentially the same passion that's driving you, right? Because like when we talked to Matt Wolf, for example, he talked about he didn't really understand he was making a documentary for a long time. He was just a huge fan of Arthur Russell.
Yes.
And he was filming a lot and thought it would be like a installation, or maybe it'd be just some kind of like strange archival record. And his friends were like, who were making the film with him, were like, "You're making a documentary."
That's what this is called.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's the North American premiere of that at Sarasota.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, amazing.
I was working there.
But
There are these little things that I'm like, I will brag about.
yes, I know. That's such a wild
that
combination.
movie.
It's such a great
It
movie.
is an incredible movie.
But my point is, though, that you were basically, you had the same artistic motivation, right? You were like, I love movies.
Yeah.
I want to just go hard at that.
Yeah.
And then that manifested in this way that you probably didn't necessarily predict, like years later, you would be running a film society, for example.
And I do think that there was a little, that was intentional along the way. I remember
Yeah.
having these like moments of revelation of what are ways that you could create a community of film people. And I would, these are things that I would like, when I was in my 20s, I would like think about and obsess about. It's not an accident.
So you thought that you could work for or create a film society back
Well,
then?
I didn't have the words for it or the conception of what it would be.
Right.
And it wasn't until AFS happened that I was like, oh, I think this is that thing that I could have expressed.
Right.
I think that's so interesting.
Interesting.
I remember being in my 20s and wanting community but not knowing how to create it. And I was in New York in my 20s, and there was this organization there called Gen Art.
Yeah.
And I never knew what it
Yeah.
was, but I kept hearing people talk about it, and I constantly told people, you should join Gen Art. You should join Gen Art. I never once went to a Gen Art event. I certainly didn't join it. I was join Art. I didn't really understand, but it's like you want there to be a thing, for me anyway. I want there to be a thing, but I want to be dragged into the thing,
Yeah.
or not at all.
That's the thing, it has to be organic.
Has to be
to
organic.
be like, you have to like, and this was the thing in New like I didn't really belong to anything in New York. I only went to things that were really interesting to me. And that's where you met the people.
Right.
If you went to that, like when Bam's repertory program, when Dave Hickey was programming, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be there on Friday night. And then there's a bunch of people in the film community there who also find that interesting, and then they're building community organically and finding out what everybody's working on, and that's how it happens.
Right.
So I think that's where the art house piece of AFS comes in. It's like, you can't just be like, we're having a party and all the cool people should show up. No, like everyone's busy. When you're really trying to create artistic community, and this kind of goes back to, air guitar, and Dave Hickey, and that thing sort of the Bible is what our real artistic culture is, but you have to have people who are making work that you find so extraordinary that you can then be like, okay, I'm not gonna be satisfied in my own work until this is those Mexican cherry trees, Mexican corn trees.
They're on that list of
Or-
stuff I was reading before.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna get this wrong.
Are they
they're
cherry
beautiful.
blossoms?
That's
They
okay.
look that way.
You're not the head of the Austin Flower Society, so you can get away with it.
Maybe someday.
It's a natural. I need you to rewind. I need a little more explication. Dave Hickey and air guitar. Those are words that I know. I've heard you say them, but I'm not sure what you meant, but probably you dropped it in there so Patrick.
Okay, so there's an essay in Dave Hickey's Air Guitar about creative community, about artistic community, and it's been a few years since I've read this essay, but essentially the idea is you need to have, like, you can't be an artist on an island where everyone's, oh, we have this great artist, or we have this great filmmaker in our town, and that filmmaker is awesome, and everyone's just worshiping and loving that filmmaker. That does not do anything for anyone, especially young artists coming up. And it just is a recipe for that person becoming stale and mediocre and nobody else having opportunity. So you need people at all levels. You need people who are like at the top of their game and who are always pushing themselves forward, and then everybody else needs to be pushing themselves forward too. It's like art can never be satisfied.
Right.
Like the idea of us, we're peeling back the layers of culture. We're finding different ways to tell the truth. And so you can't just, there is no laziness and art together. You know, and that's not a nice word or not a good word, but like, how do you continue to have that level of drive and ambition behind the ideas? And it's in being in community with people who are going to be a little restless.
Oh, I love that so much.
Friction to bounce.
So I just went to Lawrence, Kansas to be part of my alma mater's professional advisory board for the film school. Like literally, I was there yesterday. And the first night I was there, one of the professors drugged me, like literally was like, drug me along to a screening.
I heard drug.
To a screening at the local high school of a documentary called Join or Die. Do you guys know this?
Yeah,
Have you
I've
heard
about this? No. Yes.
You have got to see this movie.
I know this film.
The classic.
Yes.
So Robert Putnam wrote a very famous book called Bowling Alone.
Yep.
And the thesis of that book is basically like the declining membership in social clubs is leading to the decline of our democracy.
Yes.
And at this screening in Lawrence, Kansas, in a high school gymnasium, were 40 social groups, everything from like Civil War reenactors to like gardening clubs. And they were all there in support of this movie. And the city had basically financed and created this screening opportunity. And the woman from the city came out and she was like, I understand we're in a time of division. It's perfectly okay for you to not like your city government if you don't think you like what we're doing. You are the city. If you don't like it, change it. There's 40 clubs right here, ready to go. And I was so moved.
I'm so inspired.
It was so cool. And it was what you were talking about, where it's like, you can't have things that just work at the top level. Like you have to have groups practicing democracy underneath the main democracy, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Participation and drive and representation, like of different parts of the community. And I think also if the film community only exists in one particular section of the community, it's not really real. And I think that's what we're getting in Austin is more participation from people who weren't interested in film before, who are now getting, so there, I feel like that true, I don't know, it's an interesting time.
You said art cannot be satisfied, and to me, that's got to be a front runner for the title.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
And it's because I want to wear a T-shirt and put a little Post-it note at the minimum next to my computer that reminds me of that. When you say you can't be lazy, you're absolutely right. Like it's somewhere I fall. It's a trap I fall into. Trying to be a professional filmmaker is you come up with all these ideas to get people to pay you to turn it into a job. And that's what you have to do if you've taken the path I've taken. But at the same time, when people don't want to pay you and turn it into a job, sometimes really good ideas get dropped in favor of just like paying your mortgage.
I mean, it's a catch-22 and it's a setup.
It is, and it's like a reminder I need sometimes that I need to always have at least one or two going, that it doesn't matter what anybody else says. Like I've got to either fund myself or figure out a way to do it where it doesn't need that kind of funding. And so I just appreciate you pointing that out.
You know, it's so easier said than done though. And this is the thing, like it's really uncomfortable when we start talking about the reality of what this requires. Because there is, and I feel like the movement to like pay equity and let's get everybody up to pay, and it's like all of that, I totally believe 100% and completely support. And the reality of the moment is that it is there is no support. Right. So you really have to hold both of those truths all the time, and even hold them like in situations I've been in now as a producer, which I wasn't before, and so healthy to be in, where it's just, I got an entire crew of people deferred. Right. And that feels so bad.
Does it? I mean, that's
it feels terrible.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Right.
You've knocked on all the doors.
Right. You've asked for all the fun. Yeah. And the reality is that like the days when you used to be able to make something on spec, take it to Sundance and sell it for 10 times the investment don't really exist anymore.
No. And I think we are never gonna stop having artists in society, and that's a good thing. Art being uncomfortable and pushing the conversation forward and being the thing we don't necessarily want to look at is also true and is good. And let's hope that that continues, because that's the only way our democracy is going to be healthy.
Right.
Which, well, it's a different conversation. But
it's all related, right?
Yeah,
Like
all connected,
like what
yes.
we value and what we fund says everything about who we are.
What I value is sometimes grabbing the path off the highway.
Okay, we were taking the off the beaten path. These also look like 3D printed
I
houses.
know. I think they
these
are.
3D
I think
printed houses?
we live right by Icon
those
that,
are.
that does all the 3D printing. It's so
About to build
cool.
900 of those in Marfa.
Yeah.
Wait, where's the water going to come from?
Good question.
A word to those buying 3D printed houses in Marfa. I question where your water is going.
That's too long for a title.
But Holly just handed us the perfect little segue that we have fumbled deeply, but I'm going to bring us back to, which is you have a crew working on deferral because you have a story that needs to be told, and you've tried to get other people to pay for it. They haven't shown up, and the part of the reason they haven't shown up is because your story that needs to be told is a political story. It is unflinching. It is a microcosm of a much bigger society issue that is happening all over the place, and people are scared.
Oh,
And that is a recipe, maybe to lose a lot of money, but a recipe to be a great producer. And so that is the role that you've stepped into these last 3 years.
yeah, and I will say we have gotten some great support. So there are people who have stepped up, and this would not have existed.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like 3 years in the making. You can't have a director working for free for 3 years. It can't happen.
Well, I would imagine not, because I know a little bit about the story, you need your crew available and to embed for long periods of time,
That's right.
So
That's
that's
right.
very
And that's what we
expensive.
did. No, yes.
Yeah.
Let's take a
They're
step back
just
and let's
the
talk about
cost.
what this random thing that we've danced around but haven't introduced is. First, I don't want to murder the title.
Okay,
First,
so remember what it's called. First, they came from my college, and I whether or not this got cut, I went to a school in Florida called College of Florida, which is a very unique school that has no grades. It's a public liberal arts college. It's called the Honors College of Bisseekford. First, they came from my college is about the first college to have a political takeover of the school. We are now seeing this everywhere because it's 2026 and it's Harvard and UT, but it started at New College of Florida in 2023. And it was when Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, announced a takeover of New College of Florida, and Chris Rufo was elected to the board. Chris Rufo, of course, is the notorious crusader against DEIB in all of its forms. He got the President Harvard fired. But Chris Rufo also announced this as a hostile takeover of New College of Florida.
Oh, wow.
So
He used that
He
phrase.
used that phrase. Yes, and was not corrected
That's
by the
aggressive.
administration. So they called it a hostile takeover.
That's aggressive and caffeinated. Both.
yes.
might be a little cocaine in it.
And so it was intended as it appeared to be a political move by DeSantis, who was then announcing a run for president. And it looked like he was trying to get some headlines by being a crusader around education against diversity, equity, inclusion initiatives. But really what we discovered was that DEIB was almost used like a Trojan horse to get through the doors and dismantle the academic program and the culture. And that is something that now we've seen happen at every other school that is experiencing this. And so the documentary was not intended, it was really we approached it as we're trying to make art and meaning out of what's happening here. So it's not an advocacy doc. It doesn't cover the play-by-play of everything that happened at Wood College from 2023 to 2025, which is the period of correction. But what it does do is observe from inside what the culture of the school looked like as the students and faculty experienced this huge, basically not just change, but really a hostile,
Right.
what they call the hostile takeover of the campus, and how that brought culture wars to campus, and really what that meant for students and professors and the Kenny Biddy Robin.
As an alum of that school, can you remember the moment you first realized this was happening, how you heard it, and the moment of decision to do something about it?
It was on Facebook and on WhatsApp that kids started talking to me about it, and it was shocking. And amidst like all the other really ugly things that have happened from the far right wing at that moment and since, it felt like just another way of trying to dismantle these, not just institutions, but very special parts of our country.
Yeah.
Like that, and it felt enormously depressing and upsetting. Like to have something that was so special. And the thing about New College is that it's affordable. So Florida famously is a very affordable place to go to college, in-state and out of state. And the reason a lot of people pick New College is they are kids who like want to go to Yale or Swarthmore or these expensive East Coast schools, and their families can't afford it, and they know it's just completely out of reach. And so they go to New College and they get the same kind of academic experience, and I would say the same quality of education. And that bears out because New College has the highest per capita PhDs of any public college in the country.
Is that right?
So, yes,
Wow.
it's huge record of academic achievement among the students that have gone there.
Yeah.
It's because you're basically doing graduate level work. Every student does a thesis.
Okay.
So when they go on to graduate school, they tend to be really successful.
And so when you read about this on Facebook and on WhatsApp, is your first instinct like to make a political statement back? Like, we got to hit back against it?
I was like, what's happening? And there was a Slack group that started among the alumni. I mean, it's just devastating because for many people, New College was the only choice. It is a place, I don't know, there's a very famous story by a woman who went to New College who was a child of the KKK.
Oh, jeez.
And she went to New College. She was previously, she has transitioned. So
Was this like David Duke's daughter or
yes,
something?
David Duke's niece. She went to New College and was transformed by the experience.
Wow.
And basically spoke out against her upbringing. She was sort of positioned to take over the KKK. Wow. And she attended New College because of the medieval studies program, which apparently is very valued among ultra right-wing ideologues, and was basically was deprogrammed essentially at New College. And so New College has this amazing history, rich history among the few people who have gone there. So I think when I saw this happening, and then we saw news stories from the New York Times, from the New Yorker, from the Atlantic, pretty much every major news outlet started to cover the story. And then I started to get really concerned because I was like, the things that people would say about New College, it was like struggling school. And I'm like, are you taking that from DeSantis's report? Because they were calling it struggling. The reason it was struggling is because the Republicans weren't funding it. So they were denying New College the funding that it needed to be successful. And then they swooped in and gave the college much money.
Right.
To change.
They're kicking it in the knee and then saying, look, it's limping.
But the press were accepting these headlines.
Right.
Like struggling with enrollment. These things were sort of like half truths that weren't fully explored. And there's some really notorious articles now among the community that don't tell the full picture. And alumni have been the ones to come out and say, this is not the story. Right. And y'all are missing the story. And so I felt like there's going to be a film. I'm going to hate it. And I'm going to be really mad that it didn't do something. And that was basically the motivation, which is like, you know, kind of cynical, but like.
That is filmmaking. There's going to be a film, and I'm going to hate it.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I'm going to go make
I better get there first.
Yeah. It's funny you say that because as I mentioned, was just in Kansas City walking with Sharon Lees, who made Seized. And she's a Kansas-based filmmaker,
Right.
and this story that Seized is based on was a national story, but based in Kansas, and she had the exact same response,
Totally.
where she was like, somebody else is going to do it, they're going to beat me to it,
Yeah.
I don't know if this is for me, and then the more she just basically couldn't shake it,
Yeah.
kind of like what you're describing, and then she was like, no, I got to be the one to do it, and because she drove there, the old school editor was like, you got the scoop first. You put boots on the ground. I'm going with you.
That's amazing.
Was that a similar experience for you?
It's basically like there were so many camera crews. It was like they couldn't. The community was under surveillance almost at this time from both the new administration and the press, that there was no trust. Like the students were a mess, the professors, everybody was a wreck. And it felt, and so when we started going down there, it was really tough to even, and it was because of, we were alumni, that we were granted different access, and that was our team consisted of people who were helping out with these efforts to make sure really bad things didn't happen. And that I'll call out Dan Pothast, who was our co-producer. He is an alum. We were at New College at the same time. We were friends. He's an old dear friend, and he went on campus as soon as this started happening and started helping the librarians to preserve the archive, the digital archive.
Oh, wow.
And then he was also filming what was going down. And so he had, he was basically at every major event with his camera. And so when one of the first people I talked to was Dan. I was like, tell me what you're doing. Let's try and get a movie together.
And did he live there?
He lives in Sarasota.
Nice.
So Dan was boots on the ground, like in the very beginning.
And so you from Austin reach out to Dan. So you effectively put the movie together, right? So then you approach
yes.
Patrick.
And then I approached, so Margaret Brown, who's an EP, I approached her first, and she was like, I'm making yogurt shop, and this is like in the thick of yogurt shop.
Yeah.
And she's like, come on, Holly, you can produce this with your eyes closed. She said that. Margaret, you said that. And that is not true, but it's a good thing she said it, because I probably wouldn't have done it. Because she just was like,
you got this.
Yeah, she kind of took the fear. She was like, don't be afraid. Like, I think I would have been too scared if she hadn't said that.
For the record, I completely agree with Margaret Brown, and I'm sure you crushed it. I mean,
No, I did not. I was a very mediocre producer, which anyone can attest to, because I have a full-time job and she kids. But we just stuck with it. It's like, that was what needed to happen.
Well, that is what filmmaking is.
That's right.
Like,
that's number one.
Yeah.
But your humility is refreshing, and we all know.
No,
to
it's like
scoff at it.
impossible. No. It's real. It's real. It's like there's only so much you can do when you have this, when you're spread this thin.
And you're not physically there.
No, I'm not physically there.
I
So,
assume
like,
that was
there's
probably really difficult.
No, it was, but this is why Patrick was so essential. So Margaret and I talked about who would be great for this project, and my feeling always was it has to have the spirit of the school, which is very unique. This is not an East Coast liberal arts college. It's a place in Florida that nobody's ever heard of. And so who goes there? It's students who really, that is the choice for them to go to this school. And so having that character and not trying and painting the picture of the school, it's like the same thing of people who make movies in Austin are like, keep Austin weird, let's make it weird because it's Austin. It's like there would have been that desire instead of just diving in and observing what was really there and going in without acting like you knew the full story. And so Patrick really was the person to do that. And his persistence, his dedication, him going down there frequently with no producers, just by himself, is what made the movie
Director
happen.
Patrick Bresnan.
Yes.
Who, and previous to this, Patrick has made several films in Florida.
Which is another huge benefit. Like, it was like, has made movies in Florida, knows how to work with the community, is one of the best verite filmmakers there is.
Right.
And so
is an offbeat character himself.
Would understand New College.
Yeah, feels like he's of that world.
When he went on campus, he was like, he went down on a shoot to feel it out. And he was like, I wish I would have gone to this school. It was like he immediately understood it, and it really appealed to him and as a place. And then he was really wrapped up in what was happening to these students and professors, which he found really distressing. Like, what he saw there, he was very disturbed by. That students, especially queer students, were being targeted with disciplinary action. People were scared. They were tampering down on free speech on campus. Like, it used to be, students were not allowed to use chalk on surfaces. They started saying, we're gonna write you up with disciplinary, like if you use chalk.
If you write something on the sidewalk?
Primary ways that students communicate with each other around events, like, because it's a non-traditional place. People are not online all the time. So they chalk, like there's a party or there's an event or come out to this, and they started saying to students we could do that. So he was very wrapped up in the turmoil and just had a huge amount of concern for what was happening there. And that also really drove him towards wanting to tell the student story.
So I've been fortunate to see a rough cut of the film. I haven't seen the final.
Oh,
cut.
it's so different.
I'm sure. That's the process, right? Like that's the goal of rough cut. Is to,
Yes.
but for people out there who are, this is a story. I said it before in the introduction. This is a microcosm of what's happening in the world around us, and this hostile takeover takes the form of seating the board of this school with people that have no connection to the history and culture of the place, don't speak the language basically, and immediately come in and start rearranging all the departments, rearranging the priorities of the school. One of the most, it sounds almost like it is. It's like a bad 80s movie villain kind of idea, but they take this like offbeat, quirky kind of student-run arts culture and immediately come in and say, after how old is the school?
Oh, it's from 1960.
Okay, so it's not that
yeah.
old, but after decades of the school running the way it is, they say,
Hello.
we need a sports program.
Oh, yeah.
The school, not surprising that they don't have, a baseball team or a football team, but that
There's no sports program outside of whatever it's all student driven. So there's a sailing club, but that's because the students run it. There's a gardening club because the students run it. So if the students want to start a sport, they could do it. But it's not, the whole idea is like, there's not a program here of sports that this is where all the money is being found. All the money was found on the academics.
Well,
all of
and
it.
the gardening club is one of the most riveting aspects of the documentary, and I'm going to repeat that. That's a pull quote that you can put on the DVD box. The gardening club is one of the most riveting aspects of the documentary.
And look, who else would have done that except for Patrick?
Right.
And it's like you have this revelation, and like Patrick's, I'm going to film the student. It's called the food forest. It's where the students grow edible foods in this beautiful Eden-like garden space on the campus.
So first they came from my college, started 3 years. It was a 3-year process to make it. You had Patrick directed it. I know it was edited by Leah Marino, and then Yvette also came in.
Yes, so we had 2 amazing editors. The other lead producer is Harry Hanbury, and it was like, would not have happened without this for
Harry Hanbury and John Potts Haste.
No, Dan Pothast.
Dan Pothast
Yes,
and Harry
yes,
Hanbury.
yes.
These are made up people.
Yeah, that Harry Hanbury in particular is a great name I'm going to use with my kids.
Okay. he's a great person and is responsible for so much of this movie.
Cool.
Okay, so the film is having its world premiere at South by Southwest. What is your hope for it? I mean, you've programmed films for a couple decades now, and you've shepherded people's film careers. You have unique, we even get into this, you have unique access to Richard Linklater and his career through his role at the top of the Austin Film Society and a long friendship and relationship there. But you also are helping the most baby emerging filmmakers take their first steps. And now here you are putting this film out on the stage. It's a difficult time for any kind of film. And this is as political as it gets. I mean, you're just taking it right to the center of the fight.
It is, and what I hope is that people, I don't know, it's I keep talking about it in this political way, I think, and it's kind of bigger than that, I think. And that is my hope for the movie, is that people understand this as a microcosm of what happens in a society that starts to devalue the actual real diversity that is like the diversity of nature. Like, this is when people bring their full selves and their full ideas to the world, amazing things flourish. And when we have regimes that tamp down on what our organic culture can be, it's a really scary thing for our society as a whole. And I think when we were making this movie, we were hearing a lot about terms that the Nazis use, and one of these really common terms, which I can't remember the German word for, but it means to make everything the same.
To make everything safe?
Same.
The same.
Like,
To make everything the
homogenized
same.
it.
Like, we're just trying to make sure everything's the same. And this is what we saw, the visual representation of this happen at New College. Like, we're gonna cut down trees, We're going to lay down AstroTurf. We're going to cover up everything that was unique and different about the campus and make it look like a corporate Silicon Valley, like tech campus.
Wow.
And that we don't always call out those things as what they are. And what we see this a lot from the far right, like making a unique, interesting institution. No, we want it to be the same. We want things to adhere to a, frankly, Christo-fascist version of the world. We want everyone to be white or act like they're white. It's diversity as a threat to power.
Right.
And so it's bigger to me than the political fight over academia. And so what I hope the movie does is, I hope that the filmmakers are celebrated for their amazing creative work. I hope that the students and the professors that we filmed with have a feeling of being able to express themselves and what they experienced because the movie is out there and they are traveling around with it. And then I hope that other places that are experiencing the same type of oppression can find a way out and through.
Yeah.
Well said.
Those are wonderful hopes.
Yeah.
Where will the film find itself after South by Southwest? Can you announce any more?
Yeah, so we have True Falls and South by Southwest.
Cool.
And there's a few others that haven't been announced yet, so I don't know if I can say, but we have a festival in Florida that we're really excited about.
Cool.
We're going to be on the West Coast pretty soon here, and then some other East Coast screenings in the early summer.
So you're
Super
premiering
excited.
at True Falls.
Yes.
And your hope as producer is, of course, you want as many people to see it and for the movie to affect change and all the beautiful things that you just mentioned. And you are hoping that it gets distribution.
What's distribution? Like, we're going to distribute it if nobody picks it up. That's always been the plan. Like, when you make a movie that is on this topic, it's like academia and politics and the culture war. I do think we've had an incredible response in terms of people wanting to see it. We've already done a good amount of organizing, like the AAUP. It's fully on their radar. That's the American Association of University Professors. There are a bunch of different groups that are organizing around these issues that want all of their membership to see it, and that's a pretty large and extensive audience.
Yeah, great.
On campuses around the country. So if it was me and I was a distributor, I would consider paying out our movie. So,
Right.
but I know that's not the world that we live in, and it takes legwork to get it out there to these people. And so the whole idea is that we'll put it together if there isn't the right exact right, all rights partner.
So I misspoke before. It's not more, the South by is not the work in there. True Falls is the year career.
Yeah, it feels almost, yes, that's correct. Yes.
Just
But they are a week apart, so it feels kind of like,
Yeah, that's
it
right.
feels
one
like
and the
one
same.
thing. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And what about Sarasota? Is there a festival there still?
There is still a festival in Sarasota. Yeah, we will see. We will see.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Sarasota.
I will say the festival, it is now, I believe, taking place on the new college campus.
Wow.
No way. Is it really?
That's what I've
It's
heard.
gotta play there. That would be the best outcome. That'd be amazing. Okay, we are coming up on the end of our walk. We always do a thing at the end
Oh,
called a lightning round, which admittedly we are not very fast at doing.
It's like a thunderous rumble of thunder.
We should just, at this point, we should just call it a round, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a triangle, really. It's two questions.
Okay, so first question is, what was the gateway drug film for you that turned you on, that was like, I want to do that for a living?
mine is so lame. It's awesome. It's awesome. It's awesome. It's awesome. But it's just so like college. A woman is a woman, Godard.
Wow, that is not. So we've heard that a million times. We've never heard that before.
Woman is a Woman by Godard. And you saw that in a gender study class or a film studies class?
I was like, I had seen, what did we watch in class? We must have watched Breathless for class.
Sure.
And then I went to video store.
Okay.
But wait, what makes you say that's lame? That seems like a pretty cool
and
choice
you
to
know
me.
what? Actually,
And
I have
then
a
it sounds like
better one.
Breathless pushed you to check that, but yes.
Yeah, but that was like, I think what I loved about it was it's like a celebration of his love of the Golden Era of Hollywood musical. And I loved that era. Like when I was growing up, that's all I watched. Was like all of the
Singing
sweat.
Rain.
All of Like especially Vincent Minnelli, like all of those amazing with Dee Garland was a must star.
Awesome.
But I was really turned away by Hollywood of the 90s.
Sure.
The gender stuff. And then I felt like what was happening with Godard and women was also interesting. It was more interesting than what was happening like with Tarantino, and which also I didn't understand the history of that neither at the time, but like it was really hard to be a 17-year-old when all the ladies were hunting.
Sure.
Yeah. It's what I dropped film because of Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, totally.
Because nobody would shut up about it.
Yeah.
Freshman year of college. Okay, so that's your gateway drug. Go see Godard. What's the other questions, Ben? I always forget.
The second one is that we hope that this is for aspiring filmmakers.
Okay.
And so what would your advice be to somebody who is just starting out in our industry? It's a particularly tough time to answer that question.
No, I think it is really know your why. What is the thing, like if you're gonna say, why am I here? Really know your why and try and build your career around that rather than like some outside idea of what somebody's telling you it should be. Because then you'll find your way to like your passion and what you're here for and like your calling.
Yeah.
If you know why you're in it. And if it's fame and fortune, this is no longer the place, my friend.
That is great advice. I just have to compliment you on that because we have not heard that before. And I love that it's know yourself and know what you want to accomplish before you go out to then achieve it. That's really good advice.
I want to second that. And also just to say, like, for emerging filmmakers, and I don't want to speak for anyone else except myself, but when I was getting started in my teens and 20s, I felt like I was desperate to say something, but didn't have anything to say or didn't know what to say.
Right.
Yeah.
And what I come to realize now, all these years later, is there's nothing wrong with that. I wasn't ready. I didn't know my why yet. And so that was the phase where I had to learn what mattered.
Yeah.
I had to learn what I was good at and what I wanted to get better at,
Yeah.
but I wasn't in the place to be the teller yet.
Yeah.
I learned to be the maker, but I wasn't the person who had the voice yet.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
And then
There's
hopefully you know who you want to work with if you know why you're doing it.
That's
and then
yes.
you can try and
Your why kind of drives.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you're still figuring out your why, Keith. Externally processing, as we've learned.
As we go, I will be.
we all are. When are we gonna be when we grow up, guys?
I don't want to grow up, ever. And then the last one is, what is the thing that you can't stop thinking about right now? And what I've learned is we need to be specific and make it non-film related.
Oh, there you
Okay,
go.
this is an easy one because I'm reading a Wendell Berry book.
Oh, nice.
And so it's definitely I'm reading culture, agriculture. I think that's what it's called. I don't know. I can't tell you the name of the book I'm reading. So I'm thinking a lot about like, everything is connected.
Mm-hmm.
How do we ensure that we steal all the connections that are easy to ignore? Like our connection to Earth, like how, I'm getting a little woo-woo here.
Please.
So like everything, how can we make sure that we don't stamp out our own values? And I think this is especially true for us in film. Like we don't have time to be like growing our own food,
Mm-hmm.
So how do we live our values and make the work, as we suck a lot of electricity from the system.
I love that. And I would say that your career kind of exemplifies thinking about that, because the Film Society is like a living, like you talked about, it's like a living, breathing organism trying to create community.
Yeah.
And it seems like the more divided we get and the more we're all on our phones and streaming's gobbling us all up, like the more it's about figuring out that we're connected and needing to create those alliances and groups that is sort of the antidote to all that stuff,
Yes, it is the antidote.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's avoid isolation. Let's watch movies together.
What's the name of the book, the Wendell Berry book?
I think it's agriculture. Something is agriculture and something else.
Okay.
I'm going to go back to what Holly just said is let's watch movies together. And it is right now South by Southwest. This episode is coming out just as South by Southwest is about to end. So your film has already had its South by Southwest experience. How was it?
It was so incredible. Thank you, South by Southwest.
Well, and finally you have a chance to exhale because all the work is behind you. The Texas Film Awards, which you are running ragged to pull off. The Austin Film Society's South by Southwest party, which will be an entire episode of Doc Walks.
Yes,
That's
it's so
right.
fun.
And your film's not world premiere, but hometown premiere we appreciate you guys being here week to week. We've loved doing these festival episodes. Last week we brought you guys Claudette Godfrey, the festival programmer for all of South by Southwest. This week, Doc Days creator, festival programmer extraordinaire, and producer Holly Herrick. And next time on Doc Walks,
we have
Jess Harrop from Sandbox Films.
So cool.
Yes, that's right. So we've got programmers, we've got producers, we've got executives, and we got financiers. This is a great time to be a Doc Walks listener and a great time to be a Doc Walks sponsor. Austin Film Society has sponsored us numerous times.
That's right.
And this week,
brought to you by our friends at Rambler Sparkling Water here. They are supporters of most things Texan, almost all things Austin, and good friends of ours. Please, they're great people. Please go support Rambler Sparkling Water. They are supporting us. Your favorite flavor is grapefruit. What's your favorite flavor, Holly?
Oh, probably lemon lime.
Ooh, I'm a Satsuma man, or wild cherry when they have it.
I do like saying Satsuma.
Satsuma.
Okay.
All right.
Well, we did our next time. We did our triangle of lighting. Holly, is there anything we didn't talk about that you wanted to talk about?
Oh, God. The Silver Book by Olivia Lang. It's a great book to read.
Oh, okay.
That's my last recommendation for everyone.
Great.
Love movies, read that book. It's about the making of a Pasolini movie.
Awesome. I'm definitely going to read air guitar. You're the second person who I respect who mentioned it.
And she's like, what's wrong with you? She didn't say that.
Yeah. No, it's supposed to.
She thought it, though. Let's admit it. I love Wendell Berry, so I'm going to look up. I think I have that book on my shelf.
What's it called? Agriculture.
And the Silver Book by
Olivia Lang.
Olivia
That's
Lang.
how you say it.
All right.
We got to shoot this truck. Woo,
Oh, no, it's just a food
loud
truck.
trucks. As usual, we don't know when to stop, so let's go ahead and say let's stop. Holly, thank you so much. This is fantastic. All right. Bye-bye. This episode is sponsored by our good friends at Rambler Sparkling Water, a tasty limestone mineral blend with the perfect level of tight, crispy bubbles. Made in America and proudly supporting American rivers. Ramble on.
Doc Walks is created, produced, and edited by my friend Ben Steinbauer of The Bear.
Hello. And my friend Keith Maitland of Go Valley.
Thanks for tuning in.
Follow us at Doc Walks Pod on Instagram, X, and YouTube.